Producing these amazing drugs is a truly global endeavor, and yet much of the work to produce them happens right here in Central North Carolina. In the world-renowned Research Triangle Park, Talecris Biotherapeutics maintains both research and development labs and corporate headquarters. 20 miles to the east, our Raleigh test lab tests approximately 10,000 plasma samples a day for pathogens. North Carolina State University's Centennial Campus houses another Talecris research facility. While 30 miles to the south, Clayton is home to our state-of-the-art manufacturing facility. The raw material for these medicines? Human blood plasma. And while it is the Talecris commitment to look for new and innovative ways to maintain these compounds, human plasma remains one of the best sources for these medicines, for many of them, the only source. Production of these precious medicines doesn't begin at the Clayton facility, but at any one of more than 100 plasma donor centers, each one certified by the International Quality Plasma Program, with which Talecris contracts across the United States. You've probably seen them in your community. These strictly regulated facilities employ a remarkable process called plasmapheresis to give plasma donors their blood cells back, only taking the watery yellow liquid known as plasma. This yellow liquid is a treasure trove of medicinal proteins. This is a donor unit of plasma at room temperature. About this much, 92%, is water. The remaining 8% contain the precious proteins and other substances that give plasma its yellowish color and the therapeutic properties so vital to life. Yet, like any blood-based product, plasma runs the risk of containing viral and bacterial contaminants. So ensuring product safety is always the first concern. As a result, donors undergo rigorous screening, a physical exam, and continuous monitoring. Then, a sample of each plasma unit is tested for HIV virus, hepatitis B and C viruses, and other pathogens at the Talecris Raleigh Test Lab, and a variety of other FDA and government-regulated and Talecris-approved labs across the United States. Why the tireless emphasis on plasma donor screening, plasma testing, and viral inactivation? Human plasma can carry blood-borne diseases, such as HIV and hepatitis. Once combined with thousands of other donor units for manufacturing, a single infected unit could potentially contaminate an entire batch. As a result, the Talecris Research and Development Group is leading the industry in their work in pathogen safety. Talecris scientists work tirelessly to develop new and better ways to ensure the inactivation of infectious material, including West Nile, variant Creutzfeldt-Jakob, and vaccinia, the virus used in the smallpox vaccine, all while preserving the therapeutic properties of the proteins. Coupled with donor screening and testing programs, viral inactivation ensures the production of the safest possible products. Once samples have been approved using these cutting-edge methods, the matching donor units are collected from across the U.S. and driven to North Carolina on large temperature-controlled trucks. Right here at the loading dock is the first sign that this plant is anything but ordinary. As the trucks back up to the loading dock, rubber aprons seal themselves tightly around the trailer. Powerful air handlers literally blow air back outside. The positive air pressure around these seals keeps out dust and particles and acts as the building's first line of defense against outside contaminants. Such measures are at the heart of everything that happens at the Clayton facility. As donor plasma is offloaded from the refrigerator trucks, donor units are checked in by barcode scan and matched to the samples tested at the Raleigh Test Lab, yet another safety check. Once scanned, the plasma is moved into a storage freezer where it is kept at sub-zero temperatures and where it will continue a 60-day inventory hold. This provides time to verify the quality of the plasma donations, an additional safety buffer. Every measure is designed to maximize the safety and quality of these precious products. This is why the production buildings here at the Talecris plant are built in two distinct zones, physically separated, to ensure that as the therapeutic proteins become more highly purified, they do not come into contact with material from earlier steps in the production process. In Zone 1, plasma undergoes fractionation, the extraction of plasma proteins, as well as initial viral inactivation to provide an added margin of safety. In Zone 2, plasma products, or fractions, undergo further viral inactivation, yet an additional safeguard, and are then purified, aseptically filled, and packaged. This zoned design also ensures that product flows in only one direction as it becomes more highly purified. The same is true for air, people, and materials used in the facility. Employees also go to extraordinary lengths to protect the manufacturing environment from contamination, much of which is maintained at medical clean room standards, removing their street clothes and donning sanitary gowning before entering the production area. The process to extract these precious proteins begins when the frozen plasma is transferred to a production building. Here it is combined and thawed in large vessels like this one, in a process known as pooling. Once the frozen plasma has been pooled, it undergoes fractionation, a complex process with multiple steps using controlled agitation, temperature, ethanol, and variations in pH to allow therapeutic proteins to be precipitated. The precipitates, or fractions, are isolated in centrifuges and yielded as paste by spinning the suspension at up to 15,000 revolutions per minute. This process is repeated with a variation of different ingredients and conditions to yield different fractions. Each fraction produced contains different plasma proteins, and these proteins are key to manufacturing the various products made at the Clayton facility, including prolastin, used in the treatment of alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, coate DVI, used to treat hemophilia, plasbumin and plasminate, both used to expand blood volume and treat burn patients. The Clayton plant also manufactures several immune globulins that temporarily provide a variety of antibodies, including Gamastan SD for exposure to hepatitis A, Hyperhep B SD for exposure to hepatitis B, Hyper-Rho SD for maternal fetal Rho D blood type incompatibility, Hyper-Rab SD for exposure to rabies, and Hyper-Tet SD for exposure to tetanus. Following fractionation, the plasma fractions take separate production paths. Fraction 2+3 travels to a nearby building for the purification of immunoglobulin proteins. But for now, let's follow the fractions that stay here. Each protein fraction, in other words, each product being manufactured, undergoes different purification and viral inactivation treatments. These can include the use of solvent and detergents, column chromatography, or pasteurization to ensure that viral inactivation and targeted purity is achieved. At this point, the bulk product is finally ready to be transferred to the sterile filling facility. More about that later. But first, remember the fraction broken out early on, fraction 2+3, headed off for another building? Let's find out where it went. Fraction 2+3 arrives at the Gamunex production building as a frozen paste and is temporarily held in a huge stainless steel freezer. From here, the fraction undergoes a series of purification and viral inactivation steps to produce an intravenous immunoglobulin, trade name Gamunex, the Talecris IgIV therapy used to fight various immune deficiencies. The C in IgIVC is what makes this product truly revolutionary. The C represents caprolate, the Talecris viral inactivation method that provides an additional margin of safety for Gamunex. Caprolate is a naturally occurring fatty acid that deactivates viral material 20 to 60 times faster than detergents and rapidly inactivates a wide variety of enveloped viruses. Like the other production buildings, the Gamunex facility is divided into two zones to prevent cross-contamination. In Zone 1 of the Gamunex facility, the frozen paste enters a paste dissolution tank, where it undergoes filtration and is exposed to caprolate for viral inactivation. Next, the filtrate is transferred to Zone 2, where it is fed into chromatography columns. These columns are filled with a permeable gel that separates the proteins. The solution flows through the columns, where it is further purified and concentrated and finally ready for bulk formulation. The formulated product is then filtered to produce a sterile filling bulk and is then ready for transfer to the sterile filling facility. This state-of-the-art facility is dedicated to aseptic, contamination-free bottle filling and provides final container filling, freeze-drying, and pasteurization as appropriate to each product. The goal is simple, but not easy. The challenge is to control anything and everything that could affect the sterility of the product during the filling process. The conditions of the 4 fill suites represent the highest clean room standards. Every last detail of the facility is designed to eliminate points of potential contamination. With much of the equipment custom designed from the ground up, the facility relies on a heavily automated process to minimize human intervention and provide for the most aseptic processing possible. The quality staff monitor conditions all along the fill line, both during and after each production run. But that's not unusual. The quality unit diligently tests and monitors each and every step and stage of each and every production process, ensuring that all products meet specifications. Finally, the product is packaged and prepared for shipment across the globe. The result? Products of the highest possible quality.